I've never heard an answer to the question of someone who denies that we have free will. I've never heard an answer to the question, if you are right and we have no free will, why argue about the topic with anyone? Because you have to believe what you believe, whether it makes sense or not, because you have no free will. And your opponent has to believe what they believe, because they have no free will. You have to believe what you have to believe. I have to believe what I have to believe. The other person has to believe what they have to believe. We have no free will. I may believe complete nonsense. You may believe complete nonsense. But you have to believe that your nonsense is nonsense, is that your nonsense makes sense. And I have to believe that my nonsense makes sense. You have no reason to believe that your argument against free will is a rational argument, because you have no capacity to evaluate the argument rationally. Now, you obviously think you do, and I obviously think I have the capacity, but that's an illusion. If we have no free will, we have no capacity to rationally assess any argument. Because when we do so, our evaluation of the argument is not up to us. We have to believe what we have to believe. If I have a rock and I let go of it, the rock will fall. It has no choice. There's no rationality involved. When you make an argument, when anyone makes an argument, if you're a determinist and you make an argument, and it seems completely rational to you, you provide all the scientific evidence that we have no free will. The reason you believe your argument is rational and valid is not because it is rational or valid. It's because you have to believe your argument is rational and valid, even though it may be completely irrational. And when your opponent rejects your argument, they do so for the same reason, assuming that you are correct, that we have no free will. I've never heard anyone who claims that we have no free will answer that question. And I wonder why. Why don't answer the question? And the reason they don't answer the question is because there's no answer to it. The denial of free will implies the denial of rationality, because rationality itself assumes that we have the capacity to distinguish between valid and invalid reasoning. But if we have no free will, we don't have that capacity, because what we believe is no longer determined by reason. It's determined by necessity. Our reasoning is no more rational than letting go of a rock, and the rock will fall. The rock has to fall. It has to do exactly what it does. There's no rationality involved. And for someone who believes that we have no free will, that everything is determined, they have to believe exactly what they believe. Rationality does not enter into the question. So I ask, anyone who denies free will, why they think that they are correct? What's the basis? I'm waiting for an answer. I've never heard it. My view is that if free will is an illusion, then all arguments are illusions, and there's no point of arguing. there's no point of arguing with anyone. They have to believe what they believe. I have to believe what I believe.